We've got 1, 2.
I don't see many residents on here.
I see 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, there's about
I guess
50.
is Jenny on here twice? Or do we have two Jennies?
Yeah, I'm trying to screencast it to my TV.
Okay.
I'm on my phone and my computer.
Okay.
Yeah, I see very few residents on here.
So we will conduct the public hearing for the few residents that are on here. There's, I believe, 59 households affected here, Shane?
54, I believe.
54?
About that, I see about 10% on or less.
So we can proceed with the 8% that we have. We certainly will give the rest of the residents a chance to weigh in before we make a decision. There typically are 2 public hearings, so this is only the first informational hearing. Before the council makes a decision that's irreversible, there will be a number of meetings and another public hearing within typically 3 months, where there would be another chance to weigh in. So we'll make sure the residents all know that. So for those of you that were successful getting in, we will give you our presentation, give you a chance to ask questions, and then we will make sure that the rest of the neighbors, if they had questions, get a chance to communicate that to the council. Councilmember Rainville?
Yeah, I would also just state that this will be uploaded to our YouTube video online on the city website. So people will also be able to watch the presentation there, which maybe will help them in determining what questions they would have. So if that's something that the neighbors can get out to the neighbors, that it's available or will be available within probably 3 days on the website, that they can watch it. And if they have questions after that, then let us know. Thank you.
So Laurie, obviously all these residents in the neighborhood would have gotten letters. Depending on if anybody else comes in here, maybe we can send another follow-up letter too to see how they can watch it online and send in their questions.
I can do that.
Okay. All right, with that, I will open the public hearing. And it's at 6:14 on Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. And this is a road improvement hearing for 183rd Lane, 184th Avenue, 185th Lane, Salish Circle, Ventry Street, Waco Street, and Yakima Street, in the southeast corner of Now Then. And so we're going to have a presentation by our engineer, Shane Nelson. Maybe a word or two from our attorney, Bob Rupi, and then we will open it up to residents' questions. So Shane, if you would like to give your presentation, please, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to try to share my screen, so let me just do that here. Okay. Is everybody seeing my slide that says public improvement hearing?
We did. You just went back to your menu.
Okay, let's see. I can move that over. Okay.
There you go. Public improvement hearing.
You can see it now?
Yep.
Okay, good. So I'll try to look at the camera while I'm advancing through my screens on my other monitor here. So this is a public improvement hearing for 183rd Lane, 184th Avenue, 185th Lane, Salis Circle, Ventry Street, Waco Street, and Yakima Street. I should mention it's just a small portion of Waco Street. It's primarily everything kind of north of like 183rd Lane and north, and it's what we call the Rogers Lake area. So for those of you that are using video right now, it's the area that's kind of highlighted with the red lines. Those would be the roads to be improved, with the exception of 185th Lane, which is west of Yakima Street, is shown with a blue line, and that's because it's a slightly different situation. That road is currently gravel, and so we're discussing tonight the possibility of improving that to a paved surface. So just a quick background. So Nowthen owns 34 miles of paved roads, 29 miles of gravel roads, and this project is just under 2 miles. So in other words, it's kind of a small portion of our overall road system. We have a lot of roads to take care of. Only a certain amount of money is available, and so the city of Nowthen has adopted a policy in which the road costs are partially assessed to the benefiting properties. And right now, this project is being considered for construction in the year 2021. So our records show that the roads were originally constructed in the 70s, but were not paved until about 1990. So that means these roads are approximately 30 years old, which is a pretty good service life from a bituminous pavement. They're probably our narrowest roads that we have in town at 20 feet wide, consisting of 10-foot drive lanes in either direction. We've made some repairs in the past. We've made some repairs more recently to correct some subgrade issues. But basically, there's the pavement is kind of in the expected condition for its age. It's broken up. Pattern cracking is prevalent. For those of you that are following along with video, I'm just going through some pictures now, kind of showing the existing pavement condition. This first picture shows multiple patches near an intersection. This next picture shows an area that was just recently
to do with this.
Shane, we just lost your picture.
It'll tell you who's talking.
We just lost Shane.
I know how to mute my computer. Kelvin does that. I just don't like them seeing me do it.
This is Least Made Crust. I started this.
You guys did lose Shane. Some of the other things that'll flip that view is having the microphones turned on. Lori could probably go ahead and mute all the other people that aren't talking when Shane is talking.
I'm going through and mute people, but they are unmuting themselves. I'm trying to keep up with it.
Okay.
Thank you. Shane lost his WebEx. He's starting back up. He'll be right back with us. For those that are on the line, if you could stay muted until it's time for public comments. We'll be turning your microphones off for the background noise. It also affects our reception, so please stay muted until it's time to talk. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You're back.
Okay, I'm not sure how that happened, but
Can see you too. So
okay. So
Okay, picture
so-
back.
all right, picture's back. So this picture shows an area that was corrected just recently. We excavated poor subgrade materials out of the road, backfilled with gravel for the winter. This area just kind of shows a typical pavement area and kind of note the narrower road width. More typical pavement areas. And then this last picture is the section of 185th that is currently gravel and is being considered for an upgrading to bituminous pavement. So with that, the proposed improvements will consist of reclaiming the existing bituminous surface. We would replace the road culverts and then pave the new bituminous surface in 2 layers, a total of 3.5 inches compacted thickness. We would include matching all the driveways in our contract, and we'd also reestablish the gravel shoulder on either side of the road. One thing to note is we have not done soil borings for this project yet. So the final design is subject to the findings of a geotech report. Then lastly, the drainage system is assumed to be adequate. So we use a rural drainage system out here, which basically means we use ditches and driveway culverts and road culverts to convey the stormwater. As far as we know, that's functioning adequately. Again, we are proposing to replace road culverts with this project, but we would not replace any driveway culverts. Driveway culverts will be the responsibility of each property owner if they thought their driveway culvert was in need of replacement. So I just have a couple of pictures just to kind of illustrate the process that would be utilized. This is a reclaiming machine. And right now this machine has already made the pass this way. You can see that the road is kind of a brown gravel. And so what happened is that existing bituminous surface has been reclaimed into the underlying aggregate base. And so now we have a thicker aggregate section in this lane. And now the reclaim machine is heading this way, and there's pavement in front of the front tires here. And as this goes, there's teeth in here that essentially grind up the bituminous pavement and mix it in with the gravel base. So it essentially provides more strength in our aggregate base because we're increasing the aggregate thickness automatically by the existing bituminous section. After the road is reclaimed, there's a road grader that shapes it, and then they compact it with a mechanical compaction, and then the new bituminous surface can be constructed. Again, we generally do this in 2 lifts called a base coat and a wear coat. So therefore, the typical section would look something like this. I mentioned earlier that these roads are relatively narrow, about 20 feet wide. We are proposing to keep that width. It's generally, there's not a lot of traffic in this area, so we feel that the narrower width is adequate in this area. But our standard pavement width is wider than the 20 feet. So with that, our total estimated project cost is $848,150. It's proposed that the city would pay the costs associated with the drainage, the culvert replacement, and any necessary subgrade repairs. And of that $848,000, we estimate that the cost to improve 185th lane to a paved surface is $32,000. So like I mentioned earlier, the costs would be proposed to be partially assessed to the benefiting properties. On this exhibit or on this map, each circle with a number inside of it represents a property that we've identified would benefit from these improvements. There are a total of 52 properties kind of in the main reclaim and pave area. And then there's these additional 2 properties off of 185th lane that would benefit from upgrading this section from Yakima Street to the west to a paved surface. So we generally assess on a per unit assessment method. The city is proposing to pay 50% of the pavement replacement, or in the case of 185th Lane, the pavement construction cost. So therefore, there are two assessment amounts. The assessment would be, it's estimated to be $8,000 per unit for the two properties on 185th Lane that were shown in blue previously, and would be $5,800 for replacing the pavement for the remaining 52 properties. So that assessment, if not paid in full prior to say November 15th of next year, it would just simply go onto your taxes and it's amortized over time, generally 10 years. One thing to note is we've been receiving really favorable interest rates lately, and generally interest rates on the assessments are in the order of 5 to 6%. So here is a possible schedule. We're here tonight at the public improvement hearing.
Lost your picture again, Shane. And did we just do Shane again?
Yes.
Thank you.
He's coming back. He was the one with the wired connection too, wasn't he?
That I don't know.
Yeah, he said he went back to work because he had a wired connection there, better than his wireless at home. So
Dan, what do you use? What's your service, Dan?
CenturyLink.
Yeah.
I'm CenturyLink as well.
And I'm hardwired into my modem right now.
With that thing on your head, it looks like you're hardwired like the Matrix. Out here in farm country, I'm on T-Mobile hotspot and Sprint hotspot. I need to get some fancy headphones like the mayor. I look old school with these big muffs on my ears.
I was at a Zoom meeting earlier today. I had a sweater on. It looked like I had a necklace.
I didn't notice that. Oh, yeah, no, I couldn't tell. I could put these on. If that would make you feel better, Joel.
I also have a larger pair, Joel, if you'd like me to do that for you.
Two
These
turntables
two.
and a microphone.
There,
These
there you
people
go.
Right. Yeah.
I got a
Okay,
pair
I'm
like
back.
that. All right.
I don't know. I wonder if there's a problem. This is the first time I've ever ran into this. I wonder if it's a problem of sharing the screen from a different computer.
Well, it's going along fine, and all of a sudden it just the picture drops off, and then you go right behind it. So yeah, that's where we were at right there. So
Okay. So this is where we're at in the schedule. We're here tonight at the public improvement hearing. And this just shows that there are several other steps required to advance this project. The council discussed earlier that they may wait to consider ordering the improvement until their January city council meeting. I think we would still be on track to have plans and specifications prepared in the March or April timeframe. The city council could then authorize ad for bids. After we advertise for bids for the required period, we would then have the bid opening probably in late April, possibly early May. At the time of the bid opening, that's when we actually have good numbers. So right now, everything that we have, or everything we're presenting, are estimates based on kind of similar projects completed in the past. And at this time, once the bid opening is, now we actually know the numbers. We have the bid from the contractors for how much the work will cost. After we have that, we then hold the assessment hearing with the residents. And this is when we know what the exact assessment amount that we are proposing to assess is at that time. Again, tonight it's estimates. In probably May of 2021, we would have the exact numbers. We would then invite everybody back in to have the assessment hearing, receive their input on whether or not the assessments are favorable. And at that time, the city council would consider awarding the bid and entering into the contract. That's kind of the point of no return. So we can stop this project at any time until we get to this step here, which the city council approves the bids and awards a contract. Assuming that happened in May, construction could start as early as June of 2021. And this project, we would probably have a substantial completion date of right around September 1st of 2021. We always hear in our presentations, what are some alternatives? Can we delay the project? That's delaying the project is always an option. What we found, if projects are delayed, surface deterioration will continue to get worse. You'll continue to see increased potholes, etc. And generally, the repairs always become more expensive. They never seem to get any less expensive. One other thing is the city has been planning for this project, and at any future date, the city's ability to fund is unknown because there might be other projects, other expenses that would take precedence over this project. So that is all I have in my presentation. I think I will stop sharing the screen just to make sure I don't get kicked off again. And I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Shane, our attorney, Bob Rupi, did you have anything you wanted to share before we open up to the public?
I don't think so, Mr. Mayor. I think Shane in schedule presented all the points I wanted to make sure that the members of the public heard tonight. And the main thing is that the point of no return is not until we award the contract. At any point in time before then, the city council can say no to this project. If the bids come back and they're not consistent with what the engineer's estimate is, say for some reason the prices go up, the city council can not award the contract. The other thing is they will have a public hearing for the assessment, which before awarding that contract, so they would have another opportunity to weigh in regarding not only the dollar amount, but also whether this project should move forward.
Thank you. And for those residents that are online, I said we will make sure that this meeting gets put on our website. It's uploaded to YouTube, I guess. And we can send out another letter for residents that maybe tried to get on and couldn't or weren't aware of the meeting for some reason. We want to make sure that this is the opportunity to hear from the residents. This is a public hearing. So we'll be opening it up for questions shortly here. But we know that there's been a lot of concern in this area about getting these roads fixed for a long time. Just to reiterate, you got a letter when we started doing the digging in some of the bad spots there, but the city is covering the cost of those base repairs. We did want to get those done this fall so they could winter over and the repairs could settle in. Makes for a better surface next spring. And should this project go forward, we would be repairing all the bituminous. If the project were not to go forward for some reason, we would look at repairing the patch jobs that we did this fall. But we think that it's important to actually do the entire roadway rather than just patching it. So at this point, I will open it up for questions from those who have called in or online here. If you would identify yourself and then give us your address, and then I will recognize you and you can ask your questions. So looks like we any questions here?
I have a question.
And this is
My name is Todd Haubrick.
and your address, Todd?
My address is 18330 Waco Street Northwest.
Yes, sir. And your question?
I just got onto the meeting now, so I missed out on the whole thing more or less, but I'm just curious about what the potential assessment is going to be for the homeowners here on our block here.
So as we said with the presentation, right now we have engineers' estimates. When we do further study on the core samples and the base, and when we get, if we proceed with this project and we get estimates from the contractors or get bids from the contractors, we'll know more. Right now, we are estimating for the 52 homes that are in the general neighborhoods there, it would be was
$5,800.
$5,800 per home.
Okay, so that's the same no matter what your residents are? You don't base it off anything other than you're a homeowner on this block?
That's correct. It is per PIN number.
Okay, all right. Okay, yeah, I mean, that streets have needed to be done for years, so I mean, I'm glad to see hopefully something gets done. Pat's job just ain't doing that.
No, and early in the presentation that, the road was first put in 1977 and paved around 1990. So it's a 30-year-old road and it wasn't good to begin with. So it's served its purpose. We need to start over here. So.
Yeah, I was curious to see all the stuff they dug out of them spots too. One of the older residents that I know told me that they'd buried stumps in the road, and I kind of found that odd that they would do that, but matter of fact, they did. So.
Yeah, we have the physical evidence. Yes.
I see that. Yeah, that must be the old guys that didn't know how to get rid of stuff in the past.
Well, they knew. Just stick it in the road. Nobody can see it.
Yeah, it disappeared.
Yeah,
Okay,
we had quite a few sinkholes there for that reason. So.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep. Okay.
Thank you very much
for now. Yep. Thank you.
Anybody else online?
Yes, may I please ask a question? My name is Kevin Erickson, and I'm at 5021 185th Lane.
Yes, sir, Kevin, go ahead.
Okay, thanks a lot. Well, we lost a connection for a little while that we were on at the beginning, then we lost in the middle, and then we're back on again. So we might have missed part of the presentation. I think I heard you say that it will be available on YouTube, or will there be an attachment that we could maybe download a file or something?
Lori, right now we file them on YouTube, right?
That's correct. The video from the meeting will be on YouTube, and that's on our website. And then also the full packet will be on the website. It's currently on the website right now.
Okay, great. So the YouTube, we just go to the website and then pick a link on the Now Then website?
Correct. It will say Now Then Meetings, and you click on that, the meeting you want to hear.
That's terrific. May I ask, are there more than one contract bid going to be requested, or is it one contractor only?
Mr. Mayor, I could answer that.
Yes, sir, Shane.
So this project, because of the amount, will be required to go out for a public bid. So we'll advertise this project for 3 weeks and open it up to basically the entire contractor pool. Generally, on projects of this size, I would expect we'd get at least anywhere between 5 and 10 bids from contractors. So we'll receive bids from several contractors, not just a single contractor.
Great. Good. Happy to hear that. Thank you. That was my question.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just ask Mr. Erickson, what did you say your address was?
5021 185th Lane.
5021. Okay, so you're on the section further to the east that is currently paved. You are not on the gravel section.
Correct.
Okay.
On the dead end.
Okay.
And there were some sizable stumps we saw pulled out of the road near us. So we saw what you mean.
Sure. Yep.
So, Mr. Erickson, as Clerk Strike mentioned, that the packet that was shown there, if you missed some of the PowerPoint, that packet will be available online too, so you can actually see hard copies or electronic copies of what the engineer showed tonight. So,
thank you. Happy to hear that. Thank you.
anyone else with questions?
I have a question. This is Deborah Anderson. I'm at 5110 185th Lane. And of those bids that you collect, are you required to take the lowest?
Mr. Mayor, yes, we are required to take the lowest responsible bidder. So if we receive a bid from somebody that's not responsible, that clearly cannot complete the project, we would be allowed to throw that one out. But if it's a contractor that is determined responsible, has experience in completing these type of projects in the past, we would be required to take the lowest responsible bid.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And generally, in the projects we've done in the past, Shane, you're familiar with most of the various companies that have bid on that. So you know their reputation and their abilities typically.
That is correct. It's very far and few between where I have to call and check references. In most cases, I have personally worked with these contractors on several projects.
Other questions?
I just lost him. That's okay. Wait, your name was on the top.
So the Scotts, did you have a question?
Sure. I was just wondering, you need my address first?
Yes, please. Full name and address.
Robinson Scott, Diane Scott, 5020 184th Avenue Northwest. Question is, how much of this money that's being spent on the road is the county picking up proportionally, percentage wise, or whatever you've broken it down to? I know you're just working with estimates at this point, but do you have an idea what that might be?
There's no county money involved in this. It's city money. And right now, on the estimate that we have, the city is taking full responsibility for the repairs of the base that's been going on this fall. The blacktop, the city pays 50% and we assess 50%. So it's a 50-50 break, city and homeowner benefiting property.
I've got a follow-up question. Aren't our regular taxes supposed to be a little bit, carry a little more weight than that? I mean, when you pay, we pay the taxes that we do, I would expect them to cover more than just 50% of the road in front of our house. But that's not true?
No, in fact, previous to the city council doing this, the township actually assessed 100%. So the previous practice was 100%. This council had determined that we would go 50%.
Really?
The rest of the road taxes obviously pay for maintenance of bituminous. We do crack sealing throughout the city each year. We maintain all the gravel roads. So we've got almost 63 miles of roads to maintain. So, and the county has about that much within the city as well. So between the county taking care of theirs and we take care of the rest of them.
Okay.
And obviously maintaining the equipment, buying the trucks, paying for snow plowing and salt and sand and So there's quite a bit in the budget
Okay,
in addition to this.
all right. Thank you for that explanation.
Thank you.
All right.
Other questions or comments? Anyone else? So if people do have questions that come up, like I said, the PowerPoint will be on the website. The video will be accessible on YouTube through the website. If there are additional questions, you can contact the office. You can also contact council members directly. If your neighbors have questions they weren't able to get on tonight, they can email the questions into the city and they will be forwarded to the council members. This will not be voted on until the next step that was on Shane's schedule until January here, our meeting in January 12th. And then the next formal public hearing will be somewhere toward the end of April, early May, if the schedule holds as it is. But we certainly are open to public comments. So,
Mayor, I have a question.
and this is
Deborah Anderson.
Deborah.
How many neighbors do you require for the vote in January?
The vote will actually not be of the neighbors. It will be the council evaluating feedback from the neighbors, and it will just be the council vote. So it will be the 5 council members that will vote to move to the next part of the process. Again, as was mentioned in the presentation, we're not at a point of no return until we actually let bids out at the end of the project. Once we know actual cost, we will have another public meeting for the residents to weigh in on. But the council would decide whether it makes sense to proceed forward at this point, knowing that we can always drop the project if it gets out of hand here, if costs go up. It's always, it's an unknown cost of bituminous, competitive labor. And we've been very fortunate in the last few years that our costs have actually met or been below estimates. And we've come in very well. But we did have 2 years or so ago, project came in significantly higher by the time the cost came in, and we did not do the project. So, but we would have to decide whether to go ahead to find that out.
A follow-up question. Is there a point that the neighbors, the 52 homes impacted, are required to vote, or is it them taking input and the council makes the vote?
It will be them getting input and the council will make the vote.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, if I could just add to that comment, I think it helps for the council to hear feedback both ways. And so if there are several residents that are in favor of the project, it's helpful to hear from those residents. Right now we have a fairly small sample size, and it's easier to make decisions when we hear from a lot of, a higher majority of the residents.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Rainville.
Councilmember Rainville.
I would just note, Lori already has this presentation on the website. If they go under meetings and click tonight's meeting, Shane's presentation is there currently. So for those that missed.
Any additional questions or comments? We do appreciate those that worked hard to get through to us tonight. We apologize for any inconvenience and any residents that couldn't get in. Obviously, the presentation is online, and we will accept comments, written comments, and we're also accessible by by phone or emails directly. So.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask you to entertain a motion to close this public hearing? And then because we're on video, it must be a voice vote, a recorded voice roll call vote.
All right, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor?
I second it.
Oh, a motion by Councilmember Rainville and a second by Councilmember Blake. So Lori, would you take a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Green,
Aye.
Councilmember Bryan,
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville,
Aye.
Mayor Pilon,
Aye.
Councilmember Blake.
Aye.
All right, the meeting is closed. Thank you all for your participation. Feel free to reach out with any other questions should you come up with some. So, thank you very much.